Hey guys, EDDBUD here. So with my recent half marathon time trial done and dusted, where do I go from here? What's next for EDDBUD? Let's get to it. Okay, so today guys, I've got an update for you after my recent half marathon time trial. I almost made it, obviously, only 18 seconds over that sub 1 hour 30 target that I had. But I certainly know that I'm onto a good thing with my training now. The engine's getting stronger and certainly the legs a little bit more powerful. It was a big PR for me over that half marathon distance and I need to keep that in mind. I think it's reward enough for all the effort that I put in. But I've got to be conscious that I don't think racing's going to be returning to the UK at least anytime soon. There's very slow easing of the restrictions here in my country right now, and that means that an actual race PR, well, it could be a little way off. That route I did choose on the half marathon did make things a little tougher. There was some elevation, the temperatures were chilly to say the least. So what's next for me? Do I go for a 5k training plan, 10k? Maybe a marathon training plan? As you guys know, I'm a new dad for the second time over. I know it's hard to believe. I look that young. No, I don't at all. In fact, I forgot how old I was the other day. Having a full-time job and trying to squeeze those very long training runs in that are needed for the marathon, I can't really do that right now. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day. I think 5k and 10k training leaves a little bit less to try out some of the long run shoes I bought recently. Things like the 1080 V11. So maybe I'll steer away from 5 and 10k, at least for the time being anyway. I do like those distances very much. I think perhaps a half marathon training plan gives me the opportunity to test out some of the other shoes that I've got within my rotation right now. And certainly having some better weather on the way makes it a little bit easier to do some of those speed sessions. I think running a marathon time trial isn't really something that fills my heart or mind with any sort of excitement. Doing a half marathon is about as much as I really want to do at full power, not in a race environment. I think that marathon's a special distance, and I think when I cover it next I want to do it in a race. With chip timing and people around, an official calculated and approved distance, I think I'll leave that one till later in the year, you know, towards that sort of light in the distance that we're all looking for. So I think with a great improvement there in terms of performance and also the ability to stay in that threshold zone for longer, well, at least certainly my Coros and Garmin watches think that that's something. They seem to think I'm some sort of atomic Superman. I'm not too sure about all of that. Some of the race time predictions of the Garmin watch are, yeah, they leave something to be desired. That's all I'll say. Taking all of this into account, I think actually concentrating on the half marathon distance, for the time being at least, is the right option. So how am I going to attack my next training block over the next 10 weeks? I'm going to lay out the basic framework and structure for you, along with my justifications for some of the training sessions. We'll start with week 1 though, because that's where we are right now. Aiming at sub 130 seems like repetition really. Let's pull things down a tiny bit, in terms of time at least. So let's look at 1 hour 25. No point going through the same old motions again. I know I'm pretty much there on sub 130. I'm confident with that. So we'll dial up the pace. Maybe not to 11, but closer to 11. They'll push the EDDBUD motor and legs while also challenging the mind. I always feel about 45 to 50 miles a week, so that's about 72 odd kilometers, is about the right balance for me. Within that sort of zone I can ensure I've got the right amount of mileage to make some improvements, but also taking into account all the other stuff that I have to do as a human. I'll state here I'm not an elite runner, I'm a non-elite type of guy. I got all sorts of other things going on. I can't fully concentrate just on doing that one thing. Plus the fact I just enjoy running, and I think if it got to a point where I didn't enjoy that, what would be the point in doing it in the first place? Your life is to do things that you love and enjoy, so why would you push things that far into a non-enjoyment zone? That seems like a bad place to be. 7 miles at steady pace on the Monday in the Nike Invincible run. Left me battered and bruised again, guys, I'm sorry. I was hitting about 7 minutes 20 through to about 7 minutes 30 pace on that run. So that's around about 4 minutes 37 per kilometre average. Just keeping things in a state between aerobic and threshold pace. And there was some considerable elevation in there, because there always is in Yeovil, because it's just a big hill. Tuesdays are a tough ask for me because it's a much busier work day. Less time for running and everything else. So I kept things easy on the Tuesday this week, around about 4 miles, so somewhere between about 6 and 7 kilometers. Just keeping things ticking over there. Easy pace for me is about 8 minutes 15 per mile average, so that's about 5 minutes 8 seconds per kilometer. And the heart rate keeping it around about 130. Wednesdays always seem like a good opportunity for a speed day, and that's today. Got a bit of an easier teaching day the next day, so I can afford to use up a bit more of the juice. Although looking outside today, what am I going to use for that speed session later? Probably not the Streak 7, it's going to trash that shoe within a couple of minutes. It's very wet out there and grimy. Best bet seems like the Takumi Sen. I know it's bright and it won't be by the end of the session, but this one's the one for intervals for me. Fits like a glove, and it's got a bite of the quick strike underneath. I just threw that shoe across the room by accident, it's so light. This week on that speed session, it's going to be 5 times 1,000 meters. I'll aim for my 5k pace. I'm feeling up for it. Throwing in 2-minute recoveries in between each of the intervals, and a 1.5 mile warm up and cool down afterwards, of course. That'll hopefully continue to get the body prepared for those faster bursts. Thursday this week will be a 7-mile session at a slightly easier pace. So again, going back to that 8 minutes 15 per mile, somewhere around about 5 minutes per kilometre. That tends to be about right there. I'm working, but it's easy, it's nice and sustainable. Leaves Friday clear for a nice easy effort, just a jog, enjoying the birds singing and the sun shining. That will happen one day. Normally it's just grey. Saturday and Sunday can be put aside for some longer efforts perhaps. I can interchange those between the 2 days. Around about 8 miles steady pace, so around about 7 minutes 30 per mile average. I think it's about 12.9 kilometres, something along those lines. And then I'll hit it for a longer session on the Sunday because I'm really desperate to test out the New Balance 1080 V11 over a long run distance. Really enjoying this one. They've really improved that upper. It's just a little bit softer. It feels like there's nothing there. Someone commented to me the other day that the 1080 V11 was almost like a hard brick underfoot. I just can't see it. I think as I tested more shoes out last year, I came to realise that the 1080 was in fact a real winner. I wasn't sure about it at first. It felt a little firm, but actually it's just got the right balance for me. So that'll be this Sunday's long run shoe. Keeping it nice and easy on the Sunday, just maintaining the pace, looking at strength of the legs and maintaining good running form throughout. No buckling under the pressure. I think people dismiss easy runs a little bit. I've seen certain people who make out they're kind of elite runners dismissing it, and I think that's madness. They can have their opinions, obviously, all opinions valid, but for me, easy runs are absolutely vital. Certainly for people like me, I find them of equal importance, or perhaps even greater importance as some of the speed work. Those of us who work, who've got families, other responsibilities, we need that time. They allow the body still to be active, but with time in the moment to consider some of the key stuff that we can't do while doing speed work. Form, breathing, mental state, rhythm, and it gives us the chance to make small changes and tweaks to our running form that we couldn't do while we were entering into a faster pace running. You can observe things as well when you're running slower, about the way you're running, what you're doing with your arms. Have you got a little bit of forward lean? All those sorts of things are very important. That's not to say speed sessions and tempo efforts, intervals, all that stuff isn't important. That is too. Certainly if I'm trying to get under 130 or closer to 128 perhaps. Going a bit crazy now. It's all about balance, isn't it? Everything in life. So I'm going to aim for about the 16th of May for my next half marathon time trial effort, and probably not on the trading estate. It's just a little bit too much elevation there, and it was cold and lonely as well. But it'll be different in May, won't it? The birds will be singing, it'll be sunny, and probably baking hot then. So flatter course and no gloves this time. I'll have an update on my half marathon training for you each and every week, so make sure you stay tuned. A quick musical interlude for you. I watched a live session with the White Stripes. It must have been from maybe like late 2010, something like that. But it was really fantastic. I could be wrong about that. I'll post up a link to it in the description for you. But it got me back listening to the White Stripes, especially their album White Blood Cells. There's so many great tracks on this album. I could reel them off. I mean, Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground, brilliant. Hotel Yorba as well, which apparently they did actually record in a hotel. I've always enjoyed Fell in Love with a Girl as well. It's just raw. It's like the idea of the song right there, no frills, just the performance. Really enjoyable tune. I love the film Napoleon Dynamite, and they featured a White Stripes track right at the beginning of the film. We're Going to Be Friends is a beautiful, almost naive, childlike song, but one I've always loved, right from hearing it the first time. I Think I Smell a Rat, though, is probably one of my favourites on the album. It's got drama. It's almost like a little story there. I wonder what the idea was that Jack White had about the track. Maybe it's about someone, who knows? That's what I love about music, you never really know what the song's about. So do go and check this one out, White Blood Cells from the White Stripes. Okay, thanks for sticking with me to the very end, guys. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications when I launch those new videos. And it really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like and share this video with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you